The sages, Angira and Narada, are visiting Chitraketu Maharaj to instruct him. Just a brief recap of the story so far of Maharaj Chitraketu. So obviously, he was a demon in his previous life. In his next life, he becomes a demon. In his previous life, he was a king, Chitraketu, and he had many, many wives, which is poetically described as millions, 10 million wives in Bhagavatam. And then somehow he did not have a son from any of the wives. So he was morose. And then Angira Rishi visits him, blesses him with a son. But the son is soon after his birth administered poison by the rest of the wives because they were jealous, envious of this one wife who was getting extra affection from the king. So the son dies, and now Chitraketu Maharaj and Kritadyuti, his wife, are in deep moroseness, deep lamentation, because their very purpose of their lives, that was getting a son, is now gone, and all their expectations and plans for the future are shattered. Their object of love and affection is no more. So they are in deep, deep lamentation. It is described, their condition is described in Bhagavatam, end of chapter 14, that Maharaj Chitraketu is in an almost dead-like situation where he's laying next to the dead body of his son. So he's extremely sad and depressed. So in this situation, the sages come to his rescue once again to instruct him now about the philosophy of life, of bhakti. So that's the brief summary of where we are in Bhagavatam right now. It's a short quiz. Who remembers the name of Chitraketu's son who just died? Harsha Shoka. Yeah, Harsha. What does it mean? Yeah. Yes. So when Angira Muni Rishi blessed Chitraketu with a son, he said he will be Harsha Shoka, happiness and lamentation both. Because Chitraketu and his family will experience both jubilation and depression or sadness because of the son. So Harsha Shoka. So yesterday we covered verses 1 to 8 of chapter 15. Can anyone provide a brief summary of or any points from yesterday? Anything? Okay, material relationships are temporary. Yes. We're not this body. Yeah. Yeah. The first 8 verses yesterday, Angira Rishi gives the initial preliminary philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita to Maharaj Chitraketu, that you are not this body, material relationships are temporary in nature, the Supreme Lord is the controller of everything, you should not lament the death of your son, and things like that we hear in Bhagavad Gita. The first instructions of Krishna. I really like this one excerpt from the purport of 15.3, which I want to read before we move on to today's verses. In 15.3, Srila Prabhupada writes, "We are not the body. We are spiritual beings trapped in the body. Our real interest lies in understanding this simple fact. Then we can make further spiritual progress. Otherwise, if we remain in the bodily conception of life, our miserable material existence will continue forever. political adjustments, social welfare work, medical assistance, and the other programs we have manufactured for peace and happiness will never endure. We shall have to undergo the sufferings of material life one after another. Therefore, material life is said to be dukhayalam ashashvatam. It is a reservoir of miserable conditions. And so, all the solutions that we try to make in this material world are sprouted from the misidentification with the body. And so therefore those solutions are also temporary and false. They don't endure, they don't remain for a long time. And so that's what Chitraketu Maharaj did. He was not supposed to have a son, but he made an artificial solution by asking for a blessing from Angira Rishi. But that blessing did not stay for long because he tried to adjust his material situation artificially. So we'll move to verses 9 to 19. That's our range for today. What we can do is we can take turns reading translations, and after each verse we can make a small comment or have a short discussion. But before we start, we'll just say the prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksharun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruvai Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adhikar Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued. Thus enlightened by the instructions of Narada and Angira, King Chitraketu became hopeful with knowledge. Wiping his shriveled face with his hand, the king began to speak.
King Chitraketu said, "You have both come here dressed like avadutas, liberated persons, just to cover your identities, but I see that of all men you are the most elevated in awareness. You know everything as it is. Therefore, you are the greatest of all great personalities."
Brahmins, who are exalted to the position of Vaishnavas, the most dear servants of Krishna, sometimes dress like madmen. Just to benefit materialists like us, who are always attached to sense gratification, and just to dissipate our ignorance, these Vaishnavas wander on the surface of the globe according to their desire.
O great souls, I have heard that among the great and perfect persons wandering the surface of the earth to instruct knowledge to people covered by ignorance are Sanat Kumara, Narada, Ribhu, Angira, Devala, Asita, Apantarantama, Vyasadeva, Markandeya, Gautama, Vashishta, Bhagavan, Parashuram, Kapila, Shukadev, Durvasa, Yagyavalkya, Jaturkarna, and Aruni. Others are Romasha, Chaivana, Dattatreya, Asuri, Pantanjali, the great sage Dhaumya, who is like the head of the Vedas, the sage Panchashika, Hiranyanabha, Kaushalya, Shrutadev, and Ritajwa. You must certainly be among them.
Can we go up to verse 10? As soon as Angira Rishi gave the knowledge of the soul and the material body and the temporariness of the material condition to Maharaj Chitraketu, all that knowledge was was like a sprinkle of water on the burning heart of Chitraketu, because he was so much in pain, and these words were like so soothing on the heart of Chitraketu Maharaj. So he's now feeling such relief, and he's feeling such hope that finally someone has come to save me. Finally someone has come who can understand me, who can understand my situation, who can help me. And he is taking solace in the words of these pure devotees. And that's what really happens when a sincere devotee is in a situation of deep trouble or in deep lamentation, in a miserable condition. When a sincere devotee is stuck like that, a pure devotee comes, and through their words they provide some relief or provide some direction. I had a personal experience once when I was back in India. In no ways do I think I'm a sincere devotee, but I did have this experience where I had a mentor in ISKCON Juhu. He's still, a mentor. But back then we had a very active relationship, and he was a monk in ISKCON Juhu. Once I was in a very specific situation where I was in a very miserable mental state of, in a very miserable mental state, where I was thinking about a very specific situation of my life which no one knows about. And that was really disturbing me. It was affecting my, functioning, my day-to-day life. And then I received a text from my mentor, from this monk, out of nowhere. I did not talk to him about this. He does not know about the situation. But I received a message, and in 1 or 2 sentences, he said, he mentioned the thing that I was thinking about, and he gave an instruction about it. He said, don't worry about it. It will be all right. And I have no idea in the world how he knew about that. How could he learn what I was thinking? He sent me this message, and it was such a relief to receive his message, because in times of such distress, when you receive something like that from someone who deeply cares about you, that makes all the difference. And so after a few days, I asked him that, Prabhu, thank you for, for that message. It really helped, but I'm really confused. How do you know about what I was thinking? And he just said one word. He said, Paramatma. That's all. So by the arrangement of the Lord, he encourages pure devotees to help us, people like us who are stuck in this world. And so when Chitraketu Maharaj was in such a distressed situation, naturally the sages felt inspired from within, from Paramatma, to visit him and guide him. Srila Prabhupada, when he wrote letters to his disciples, do you know what he wrote at the end? How did he sign his letter? Your ever well-wisher. And that's what a pure devotee is, our ever well-wisher. And that's why, without any other consideration or expectation, they go out of their way to help us, relieve us of our suffering. Can we go down one verse? 11. Just to dissipate our ignorance, these Vaishnavas wander on the surface of the globe according to their desire. Pure devotees, like Krishna descends by his own sweet will. He doesn't have to, but he comes. Similarly, pure devotees, they are not required to come by the laws of nature or by the laws of karma, because they're liberated. But they come out of their own sweet will on this planet just for the pleasure of Krishna, just to help the fallen conditioned souls. Imagine being in a state of eternal bliss and satisfaction. Imagine being in a place where all desires are fulfilled, the heart is completely content and in love and in a blissful state, and yet choosing to come down to a place of such misery and quarrel and suffering and ungratitude and just so many negative qualities. Choosing to come down to a place like this from a place of eternal bliss. Why? Just because you deeply love someone and you want to please them and you want to help others attain that situation. So that's what pure devotees do. They wander on the surface of the globe according to their desire. They choose to come down to help us. And that is their magnanimity. Verses 12 to 15, he says, "O great souls, I have heard that among the great and perfect persons wandering the surface of the earth, to instruct knowledge to people covered by ignorance." And why do these devotees come down? To give us knowledge. In Bhagavatam, it is said that Bhakti Devi has two sons. Does anyone know who are those two sons? Jnana and Vairagya. Knowledge and renunciation. These two things make bhakti very favorable. Knowledge and renunciation. And therefore, these great souls, they come down. Why? To give us knowledge. Jnana hetava. Because knowledge makes it even easier for us to practice renunciation if we have knowledge. Knowledge that I'm not this body, knowledge that Krishna is the supreme, knowledge that these things are good for my spiritual life. All this knowledge helps us become detached to the body ultimately and to things related to this body. And therefore it is so important to gain that knowledge. A lot of times devotees neglect knowledge or gaining knowledge, and they think that simply by the practice of devotional service, other things like seva, chanting, and doing these things, the knowledge will come and the realization will come, which is true in principle, but it is very rare. And therefore Srila Prabhupada wrote so many books, gave us so many lectures and all these resources, just so that we can read them, take benefit, and get that knowledge. Because when we have knowledge, only then will our chanting also have force and will have some emotion and will have some weight. If we have knowledge about Krishna, his pastimes, his activities, that will put love into our chanting. Then we will be able to chant with some affection if we have knowledge about Krishna. If we don't have that, it's very difficult to chant with attention and with some kind of affection or emotion. And any other service we do will be mechanical if it is not backed by the knowledge of why we are doing it, who are we doing it for. And that's why knowledge and spiritual practice has to go together. And that's why the first process of the 9 processes of bhakti is shravanam, listen. By hearing, we get knowledge. By knowledge, we can get realization, and then we can chant kirtanam. Next verse, please. So this one we will expand, but we will expand on it after we complete until verse 19. So we can read the translation.
Because you are great personalities, you can give me real knowledge. I am as foolish as a village animal, like a pig or dog, because I am merged in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me.
Anjira said, "My dear king, when you desired to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Anjira Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is the great sage Narada, the direct son of Lord Brahma."
My dear king, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for the person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable.
We can open verse 16. Please repeat. Tasmad yuvam gramya pashur. Tasmad yuvam gramya pashur. Mama mudha dhiya prabhu. Mama mudha dhiya prabhu. Ante tamasi magnasya. Ante tamasi magnasya. Jnanadeepa udiryatam. Jnanadeepa udiryatam. Please repeat. Asmad yavam kramya pasho. Mama mudhatiya prabhu. Synonyms. Together. Tasmat, therefore, yuvam, both of you, gramya pasho, of an animal like a hog, pig, or dog. Mama, me. Mudhadhya, who am very foolish due to having no spiritual knowledge. Prabhu, oh my two lords. Gande, in blind. Tamasi, darkness. Magnasya, of one who is absorbed. Jnanadeepa, the torchlight of knowledge. Udiryatam, let it be ignited. Translation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Together, because you are great personalities, you can give me real knowledge. I am as foolish as a village animal like a pig or dog, because I am merged in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me. Can someone read the purport?
This is the way to receive knowledge. One must submit oneself at the lotus feet of great personalities who can actually deliver transcendental knowledge. It is therefore said, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyata Jidna Su Shreya Uttamam. One who is inquisitive to understand the highest goal and benefit of life must approach a bona fide spiritual master and surrender unto him. Only one who is actually eager to receive knowledge, to eradicate the darkness of ignorance, is eligible to approach a guru or spiritual master. The guru should not be approached for material benefits. One should not approach a guru just to cure some disease or receive some miraculous benefit. This is not the way to approach the guru. Tad vijñārtham. One should approach the guru to understand the transcendental science of spiritual life. Unfortunately, in this age of Kali, there are many bogus gurus who display magic to their disciples, and many foolish disciples want to see such magic for material benefits. These disciples are not interested in pursuing spiritual life to save themselves from the darkness of ignorance. It is said, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Chanranjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitamyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. This gives the definition of the guru. Everyone is in the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, everyone needs to be enlightened with transcendental knowledge. One who enlightens his disciple and saves him from rotting in the darkness of ignorance in this material world is a true guru.
Thank you. Can we go back to the translation? Maharaj Chitraketu is presenting himself in an extremely humble position here. He says, I am like a village animal. I'm as foolish as a village animal, like a pig or a dog. It says Gramya Pashu, village animal. Why village? Why not just animal? Why village animal? Because in a lot of Indian villages, small Indian villages, it is the people in general are not very educated or intelligent. And that's why he's saying, I'm a village animal, to emphasize on the depth of his ignorance. He really believes himself to be very lowly in front of these magnanimous personalities, these sages. He really believes himself to be so fallen and so foolish and ignorant, like a village animal, and he's begging them to give him knowledge. This is really the qualification to receive mercy and to receive knowledge. And we see time and again in our stories, we see this concept of presenting oneself as a fool in front of the guru, in front of the spiritual master. So what does it mean to be a fool in front of the spiritual master? Because we see that Srila Prabhupada, he wanted his disciples to act intelligently, right? Act from a place of intelligence and think. And, how else would they manage big projects if they were not intelligent? If they were fools, how would they manage such big projects? So, if intelligence is required in devotional service, then what does it mean to be a fool in front of the spiritual master? What it really means is keeping aside the ego and the attitude that I know everything, or I know better, and the willingness to receive knowledge and mercy, the willingness to accept, the willingness to be open to that knowledge, and really believing, not just artificially, but really believing that I don't really know. And this is a great personality. This is a liberated soul, a very advanced devotee who is here just to help me. They don't have anything to receive. And so let me cast aside my ego, my pride, and act like a fool, or be like a fool to receive that. And this is this concept, or this, it's so important that even we see that in many stories, Krishna presents himself as a fool in front of his guru. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says to Prakashanand Saraswati, he said, my dear sir, my spiritual master considered me a great fool. Therefore, he has more or less punished me by saying that because I am such a fool, I have no capacity to study Vedanta. So, in turn, he gave me the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My spiritual master told me, just go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. It will make you all perfect. So, Krishna himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, presented himself as a fool in front of his spiritual master. He did not have to do. Obviously, he has unlimited, all knowledge, eternal knowledge, but that is the etiquette in front of a guru, in front of a great personality, that even if we know things, even if we have knowledge, it is not the best idea to display that or to be proud of that. Because we see devotees who were proud of their knowledge, of their qualification. They did not have very, they had to struggle with that. In Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, we see Keshav Kashmiri, we see people who were extremely proud of their erudition and their knowledge, and their pride was shattered in very painful ways. And so that is how we approach and we deal with a spiritual master. Because how else, if we are proud and if we are unwilling to receive knowledge, how else can they help us? How else will they instruct us? Once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had his ashram, he had brahmacharis serving in the ashram. And there was an uneducated, unschooled brahmachari whose main service was in the gardening services. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur went to him and he asked this brahmachari who was, uneducated and doing a menial service, he asked him, "What do you know of spiritual knowledge?" And the brahmachari replied, "I hear you repeatedly and try to absorb what you say." And then Saraswati Thakur asked him to relate something of what he had understood, upon which the illiterate devotee began to expound many sublime philosophical truths. And Srila Saraswati Thakur then explained to the other devotees present, "This is proof of Sevon Mukhe hi Jivado. One can perceive Krishna by his blessing. Just see, this boy has not gone through the Vedanta Sutra or Puranas, nor is he fluent even in Bengali. Yet he knows so many Siddhantas. Many great Pandits cannot understand what I am saying, but this uneducated lad has grasped it all." So, for this brahmachari, being uneducated and being illiterate actually became his qualification to understand the knowledge from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And the verse that Bhaktisiddhanta quotes, Sevon Mukhe hi Jivado, is from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahayam indriye Sevon Mukhe hi Jivado swayam eva svuratyada. Translation: Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. And so simply receiving knowledge, again, will not be sufficient. Chronology is here. We present ourselves in a very humble state as a fool in front of the Guru and beg for knowledge. The Guru gives us knowledge. We receive the knowledge. But that knowledge will only have effect, and that knowledge will only be realized when sevon mukhehi jiva, when the tongue is engaged in service, or when we are engaged in service. Service is what converts knowledge into realization, or converts knowledge into realized knowledge. Using his tongue to chant and eat prasadam, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. And so chanting, based on the knowledge we receive, will convert knowledge to realization. But neither do we have the basic knowledge, neither do we have the realization that we are the soul, that this body is temporary, and nor do we have the taste for chanting at this position. And so the Shikshastakam, second verse of Shikshastakam says, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Ethadrashi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durtaiva Metrisham Ihachani Nanu Ragaha. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction upon the living beings, and therefore you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies, and there is no hard and fast rule for chanting these holy names. O my Lord, you have so kindly made approach to you easy by your holy names, but unfortunate as I am, I have no attraction for them. We don't have attraction. We don't chant attentively. We don't have attraction to chant. And so how will we accept, or how will we use this knowledge that we are receiving? So in his commentary on the Shikshastakam and in Bhajan Rahasya as well, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that there are 4 causes for lack of attraction for the holy names, lack of attention and lack of attraction. There are 4 main causes. And the first cause is called Tattva Vibhrama. Tattva means truth, Vibhrama means confusion. So confusion about the truths is the first cause why we are not able to have attraction for the holy name. We are not convinced about the basic truths. And in his book called Japa by Bhurijan Prabhu, he expands on this confusion about the truths. And we will end with this. What he says is very beautiful. I will read that excerpt. Lacking the spiritual depth to realize just how tiny we are bewilders us into the conviction that we are actually significant. Filled with our own importance, we think the world should revolve around our desires, and we become frustrated and angry when it doesn't. Then, mistaking the identities of others, we quickly divide them into friends and enemies. So much suffering ensues from all this ignorance. That our consciousness becomes captured by false ego proves that we lack self-knowledge. We do not understand that we are Krishna's eternal servants, or that our identity in relationship with him cannot be altered. It's simply who we are. Although being Krishna's eternal servant implies that we have an eternal relationship with him, we nevertheless have turned our back on him. I'll repeat. Although being Krishna's eternal servant implies that we have an eternal relationship with him, we nevertheless have turned our back on him and have tried to separate ourselves from this intrinsic relationship. Because of that, we suffer existential emptiness. We are incurably lonely. So, dear devotees, this was Maharaj Chitraketu's situation. He was incurably lonely because in that position he was confused about the truths, Tattva Vibhrama. he thought that having a child will give him happiness. Having a child is the purpose of his life as a king, to continue his progeny. But he was mistaken, and because of that he had to suffer so deeply. But the pure devotees, being merciful, being causeless, having causeless compassion as they do, came to his rescue, gave him knowledge, and brought him out of that deep state of misery. And in the following verses, in the next few days, we will see how Chitraketu's journey is completely transformed from being this miserable, lonely, depressed person to attaining ultimate highest spiritual bliss, so much so that he doesn't have any worry in the world. And even after he is cursed to become a demon, he still has the consciousness of being a pure devotee. And in the body of a demon, he surpasses the consciousness of all demigods and sages present there, and renders such beautiful prayers to Krishna. So this is how the mercy of pure devotees can transform us, provided that we can have an open heart, we can have an open consciousness, an open mind, set aside our ego and pride and receive the knowledge and mercy. Our only qualification is that we should be able to receive. And everything is present. Srila Prabhupada's knowledge and mercy are present in the form of his books, lectures. We just have to take effort to actually believe that we don't know, and that this is what we need to become happy, to attain an eternal life, to attain love of God. And if we can have that faith and approach this knowledge that we have with humility, then we can expect some hope for advancement. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We have, I think, 10 minutes for questions, or comments, questions. Yes.
So it's actually really interesting. You mentioned that he specifically calls himself a village animal. Now, another quality of a village animal compared to like an animal in the wild is they're very domesticated. So even their gene expression is different. They end up being like more lazy, and they're taken care of usually, so they don't have to think for themselves as much, so they become a lot more foolish. There's even studies about how like a domesticated pig, when they go in the wild, they become this like big hog, like an intelligent, more warrior type of beast. A different type of intelligence than is capable in humans, but that difference is there. And we can see it in life nowadays, how we're all kind of domesticated animals and a lot more foolish. We're not living in a yuga where we're trained as warriors or trained up more properly as Brahmins and things like that. And so it really becomes more intelligent to surrender to a spiritual master, to understand the position we are in Kali Yuga. We always need help. We're always in this foolish condition. It's even our bodies living out in this material world are not as capable of the full spectrum of intelligence available to human life. And so we must be completely reliant on the pure devotee.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. Yeah, I did not think of that. A village animal is easily domesticated, and I think Maharaj Chitraketu presenting himself as a village animal is not just expressing the depth of his ignorance or humility. He's also showing his willingness to be trained and controlled by these sages. Please, I am a village animal. I'm ready for this love and mercy. Please take care of me. Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Narottama Prabhu. Thank you very much. I see how in the name of humility, we can sometimes act in ways that are unfavorable for our spiritual advancement. For example, in the name of humility, we can become a blind follower of our guru. And I'm hoping you can share some reflections on how we can avoid this pitfall. We may hear some prayer like this and imitate it, and shut off our intelligence and just say, oh, I'm just an animal, whatever you say, Gurudev. And we don't actually think about the instruction that we're giving. So can you share some reflections how we can avoid this pitfall?
Yeah. I was thinking, I don't know if this is what you were thinking of, but I was actually, your question, I was thinking about how there have been situations where the guru was not a bona fide guru. But because the disciples were so humble and so surrendered, they followed certain instructions which were harmful for them. And so it is generally advised that, it is said that there, Kanishta, Dikari, Madhyama, Uttama, there are 3 levels of devotees, and it is said the Kanishta, the neophyte, which is the lowest level, has only to do with me and my guru. Their consciousness is only this, me and my guru. This is my spiritual life. Whatever my guru says, and they're generally very emotional. Their affection for their guru is in a very immature form. That, oh, I love my guru. Oh, and obviously we should have awe and reverence, but they're so enamored by the charm of the guru, by the externals, that that's all their spiritual life is about. Whatever the guru says, and I will roam around the guru. They don't have much to do with other devotees, with the community, the movement, the mission, but it's just that relationship. And that's why devotees like these have so much trouble when the guru leaves the body, or when the guru is not available physically. They're busy, or they're traveling, or when the guru falls down. Devotees like these will be the first to leave the movement, or the first to struggle, or the first to lose their faith, because they their spiritual life was completely relying on that very superficial relationship with the guru. And so we should constantly strive to deepen that relationship by taking benefit of the broader, wider movement, devotees, building relationships with other devotees, having multiple Shiksha Gurus. Obviously, we have one main Diksha Guru who we take our life instructions from, but we need other mature devotees to guide us. We need to read books. It's so important to have that holistic knowledge, not just the knowledge that we receive from the Guru, but Prabhupada's books, other Vaishnava literature, hearing from other devotees, coming to the temple, talking to peers, talking to seniors. When we take benefit of that community, of the entire ISKCON movement, or that entire society of devotees, then our knowledge and our understanding will mature, and we can aspire to rise from Kanishta to Madhyama, where a Madhyama devotee comes to a level of, the consciousness expands from me and my guru to the movement, to the community, that, okay, there are other devotees, I need to help them, I need to have a relationship with them. So it's really up to us to constantly work on deepening the relationship with the Guru. What does it really mean to have that relationship with the Guru? Deepen that and internalize that, not just have that external relationship with the Guru, which is amazing. Vapu, if it's available, that's great. But ultimately, we have to internalize, because Guru is in the heart also. So, really, whatever we do, offer it, make it an offering to the Guru. That will be internalizing, because when the Guru is around, it's very easy to act well, act good, act as a devotee. But when the Guru is not around, that's where it's a test of our love for the Guru. So whatever we do, whatever we say, how we act, the devotional activities we do, if we do it in a consciousness that this is for my Guru, this is for Prabhupada, then these things will help deepen our maturity. and we will get the inspiration to understand how to better follow instructions. And then on another aspect also, it is said that there are 3 filters that we should use to accept any knowledge, which is Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So some, like what I said about the Guru not being a bona fide Guru or the Guru falling down, how do we know if this instruction, if I should blindly follow everything my Guru says, or if this makes sense? So we should filter everything, what the Guru has said, through Sadhu and Shastra. Sadhu means other devotees. If we read books, we will know that what the Guru is saying is in line with what devotees believe in general. And Shastra, is it backed by scripture? Is it scriptural? Is it, is it permitted? Is it encouraged? And so if the statements pass these 3 tests, then we know it to be bona fide and we can follow that. Does that?
Thank you. Yeah, what you said reminds me of a few things. One is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's distinction between antarmukha disciples and bahirmukha disciples. That those who are bahirmukha are more focused on the external rituals and am I looking like a good disciple right now? Does everyone see that I'm offering obeisances to my Guru? Do I look really surrendered? Right. But an antarmukhi disciple would be sincerely trying to know the heart of the Guru. Like Giriraj Maharaj, he approached Srila Prabhupada. I think your main heartfelt desires are this Mayapur temple and book distribution. And Prabhupada said, yes, you've understood my heart. So that's an antarmukha disciple. And what you said also reminded me of the Gita, that 434, Krishna says, approach a spiritual master, you can learn the truth by service and questioning them. In the next verse, what's the result of getting that knowledge from the Guru is you see that all living beings are parts of Krishna. And so you can't be a Kanishta, you can't just think me and my Guru, because if you actually have understood the knowledge from your Guru, then Krishna says you'll see that everyone is a child of God, and you'll respect them in that way. You won't just be self-centered.
Exactly.
So a few reflections based on
Beautiful.
what you said.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Well, I was going to save it as a breakfast discussion point, but I'll bring it up now. I was wondering, you talked about being a fool in front of the spiritual master, and it can be hard sometimes when our teachers are so encouraging, or our teachers are so like, you're doing great, and things like that. And, or even if you are like, oh, like, to your teachers, oh, I'm like so fallen. It's always like, okay, get back up and keep. So, I'm just wondering. Yeah, it can sometimes be hard to feel like a fool, and especially when they're encouraging you so much. So, how can we figure that out?
That's true. Yeah, it's luckily for me, growing up in India, I did not have to face that trouble because in India, your mentors can be really blunt with you, and they can just say things on your face, really in a very raw manner. Not that they're insensitive, but because that's why they're there for. They're not there to impress you. But yes, when I came to US, I had a mentor here who was, like what Drishtadhyumna is describing, very, very kind, very gentle, and very encouraging all the time. And that was great, but I also felt that I needed that heavy, sometimes I needed chastisement, or I need to be humble, and I need to be like a fool in front of them so that they can actually instruct me. But if they always keep encouraging me, I don't, that might not always be what I need. So I had a conversation with him, and I think that's what we can do is, I told him that, Prabhu, I really appreciate the encouragement, but this is what I need. I need you to be heavy with me. I need you to tell me, give me open feedback. I need you to be very, very open and very transparent with me. So please don't, I know, but don't feel that you have to be nice in your words with me. You have to use nice words for me. Please be blunt. Please give me open feedback. I can take it. I won't be discouraged, because this is what I need for myself. This is what I need for my growth. And when I had that conversation, he understood that that's what I need, and that's he changed how he dealt with me. So I think practically that's what I can think is, you can tell your guru that you need that him to not be so encouraging all the time, but you can say that this is what I need. Like I need chastisement from you. I need open feedback so I can really, if you see something, if you notice something, please tell me. Things like that. That's what I'm thinking of. Can you add something?
Yeah, Kalakant Prabhu was actually asking his disciples a few weeks ago, do I chastise you all enough? He was genuinely inquiring from his disciples, what's your relationship with me in terms of chastisement? And a few disciples said, yeah, please do it more. And so he's open to adjusting, as you're suggesting here. Another thought is that we have multiple sources of inspiration, and we may have devotees in our life who have that more strong mood, or even we may hear lectures from a devotee like Tamo Krishna Goswami, and we may see him as a Shiksha Guru of ours, and he'll give us very strong instructions, and we can take that, as personal instruction. So a few thoughts there.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought of was during the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. Ramananda Rai was obviously, a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for him, he was presenting himself as a fool. But at the same time, on the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Rai was speaking Krishna Katha, speaking such philosophical truths. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was constantly praising and encouraging him that you are so wonderful, you know so much, I'm a fool, you are my teacher, you are so great. And Ramananda Rai, it was so painful for him to hear that from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from Krishna himself, from his worshipable object, to receive that encouragement. And so he maintained his humble position. He said, no, I'm doing this. Whatever I can speak, whatever I know is by your mercy only, is by your blessings. So it's actually you speaking through my mouth. So it is also, when we receive encouragement, it is also an opportunity for us. It's a test of our humility. That do we become proud, or do we lose our humility because of that encouragement and praise, or do we take it or do we maintain it and go deeper in that and give all credits to the Guru for whatever he's praising us for. That is. Yes.
It's fine.
Oh no, please.
I know it's a breakfast conversation, like Prabhu said. Just recently, when His Holiness Prahladananda Swami was here, I asked him a similar question about how do you consult? Anyway, coming to the point, he said, when you ask someone for, when you consult, make sure you consult someone whose guidance you will follow. Mm-hmm. So the how we ask and how we get answered, the mood is one thing, but also will we actually follow?
Mm.
So that is more important also, another aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
See, this is a sign of a good class, Prabhu, is when the people can't stop talking afterwards. But I was just thinking of Vrishajimna Prabhu's question is, you can take advice from your god siblings, of how they should advise you as to if you're acting in a way that's pleasing the spiritual master. He may not exactly tell you. Like my spiritual master is very, very soft with me and so like overflowing. And then my Pati Guru will correct me. And he spent many years in the ashram with him. And, he'll say, God, I remember recently Maharaj was here and I said something and I felt I really expressed my heart so nicely. And afterwards my husband was like, boy, you really missed that opportunity. And I was like, what? He said, that's not what you should be talking about. You should have talked about the book that you read and your realizations from that. That's what's more pleasing to him. So hopefully we have God's siblings in our lives that can really help us when we can't see it ourselves and when the spiritual master isn't exactly telling us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Well, we will end here. Thank you very much for attending this discussion. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.